A hurricane warning sounded in West Memphis. We'll talk about that next on the Coach Lanny Dauksch Show. Welcome to the Coach Lanny Dauksch Show. I'm Billy Woods, along with the head coach of the West Memphis Blue Devils, Lanny Dauksch. And this week, the Blue Devils take to the road for their very first 7A, 6A East Conference game at Jonesboro. And Coach, you come into this ball game after a rousing 30-21 victory at against Pulaski Academy, and we're going to talk about that game. We're going to look at some tape of that game. But you come into this ball game 3-0. You're ranked number 4 in the state in the Associated Press poll. Jonesboro comes into this ball game 2-0. They had one of their games canceled because of the storm in week 2. So, but let's talk about the great victory over Pulaski Academy. I mean, that was just one of the most entertaining games I've seen in a while.
Well, it was too entertaining. It was, but it really was. It's a good ball game back and forth. Got behind a little bit too far, was able to come back there in the fourth quarter and pull out the win.
You got to see what your team is made of when it comes from behind. When it's behind, a little medal showed Friday night.
Well, it is. That's always good when you get in a bad situation, how they're going to respond to it. We responded very well. Defense made some plays, got the offense in good field position, and the offense was able to take the ball in and get us some scores. Now,
you had many issues to handle in that ball game. You had the onside kicks. You had the four downs, Pulaski Academy not punting. You had the passing that they had to do. They threw 50-something or almost 50 passes. How close did your team come in accomplishing everything you wanted to take care of?
Well, you know, a lot of things was taken care of. Obviously, the onside kicks was a big thing. The fourth down conversions, they got a lot of them. That was kind of disappointing. But again, even though it's kind of reverse what you normally see. Usually you see passing teams get big plays. They don't snap the ball a lot. And the running teams have a lot of plays moving the ball. Well, it's really reversed, especially the first half.
Yeah.
They had all the snaps, and they had a lot more snaps than we did. They had more yardage than we did, and still, except for one tip pass, it's a 7-7 ball game. It ended up being, 14-7. We had a tip ball that they caught, but other than that, our defense did a great job of bending and not breaking.
No doubt about it. And now, you told me that PA had 15 different types of onside kicks. To me, it appeared that they used only one. Was that the case?
It was the case. I don't know, unless they liked the look they were getting, they wanted to keep trying it that way. I don't know exactly why they just used that one, but you're right. They used that same one over and over, and we were successful recovering the ball every time.
Is the onside kick, recovering the onside kick, is that more important than anything you got to deal with Pulaski Academy?
Well, I think that's number one. There's no doubt, especially for two reasons. Number one is they're going to get the ball back, which that's not a good thing. But number two, great field position, Billy. I mean,
right.
Every time we recovered them, we're right there at midfield. That's like returning the kickoff to the 50-yard line or around the 50-yard line every time. So there's two positives in recovering those things.
I would imagine if you're a PA fan and you're using those onside kicks and you're never punting, and neither of those two things go your way a particular night, man, the fans can come down really hard on the coach after that.
I think they've accepted that, and that's part of their personality, and they've done that. Of course, after the safety, they didn't try to onside kick that one. They went ahead and kicked that down the field. So, they weren't going to gamble that much kicking off from their own 20-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, that was really weird because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I've never addressed this. When they have a safety, do they have the option of punting the ball?
Yes.
And obviously, okay, they could have punted the ball,
right,
but they elected to put it on a tee, and they could have onside kicked again. They didn't. They kicked the ball deep. You had Kendall Allen back deep, and it was kind of a line drive. It was not really everything put into that kick.
It was almost a squib kick type situation, and we knew they did that. They did that some if their onside kicks aren't working. Sometimes they'll do that and go ahead and punch it deep and try to run down. They really don't kick it deep. They're just trying to hit an area between your front line people and your deep person and see if they can get the ball there. But we've worked hard on that, and Kendall got there in plenty of time. Unfortunately, he had his knee down when he picked the ball up.
Didn't look like it to me. How did it look to you?
Yeah, on the film it showed that his knee was down. I mean, he just went down on one knee to get the ball, scooped it up, and took off. I didn't think it was during the game. I was hoping it wasn't.
Yeah, me too.
But the referee made a good call on that one.
Yeah, boy, he had plenty of green in front of him, too.
Oh, yes. We were fixing to get 15, 20 yards minimum on that return.
Right. You had 10 sacks, 10 quarterback sacks against the PA. Is that the most team that you've coached ever had?
I believe so. Carson Knowlton several years ago against Osceola got 5 individual sacks, but we didn't get 10 as a team, so that is a record, at least in the last decade.
Now I had Jarvis Cooper for 5. Is that what you guys got?
Yes, we had him for 5 sacks, a total of 12 tackles for loss, and then he also had 11 quarterback hurries. So. And Cornelius Harper was the other guy that was really getting back there and putting some pressure on him. So their quarterbacks, we harassed them pretty good.
Now, Jarvis, have you ever seen a kid dominate on both sides of the ball the way he did? Especially, he carried for 81 yards in the second half on offense.
No, not on both sides of the ball for the same night. I don't think so. If you remember Marquez Johnson a few years ago, in fact, several years ago, against Forest City, especially Jacksonville, dominated for that nose man position on the defensive side. Of course, he didn't play offense. So Jarvis had a lot to do. I mean, they had the ball. I believe they had 85 snaps. We had 55 snaps, and he was out there for most of them.
Yeah, I asked him after the game. I said, "Did you ever come out?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How many did you rest on?" He said, "I don't know." But and I asked him if he was tired, and he said, "Well, I'll be tired tomorrow." Could you tell that any fatigue had set in at any point?
No, his motor was running. He missed 3 snaps on offense was all night long out of those 55 plays, and defensive, I'm not sure how many he missed. We did try to rotate him, get him out, and get him a drink of water and things like that. But shows the conditioning was pretty good. And it wasn't just Jarvis. Of course, Jarvis is the one that showed out, but Kendall played a lot on defense, all of them on offense. Martavius Scott played both ways. Eric Clay played both ways. So we had some people that were doubling up more than usual. Calvin Goshen, he's been doubling up all year at his wing back and safety spot, and he got all the snaps at safety and most of them on offense. So we had more people than usual playing both ways, and a third ball game of the year. It shows pretty good stamina.
About a month or so ago, it was a few weeks before the season started, I will not reveal the name of this head coach, but it's a head coach that I know in Division I college football, and went to go see him and visit him, and he and his defensive coordinator. I guess that's kind of a giveaway there. But asked him about Jarvis, and he was very aware who Jarvis was. And I said, the question I asked him, what do you see him playing? What position do you see him playing at the next level, at the college level? And before I could even get that question out, he said with emphasis, anywhere he wants. It's kind of hard to say. To me, I think, especially after last week's game, he looks more like a defensive player to me.
Well, I think it's what they need. I mean, you remember Bobby Petrino a few years ago said the only thing he was missing in his offense was a big running back, and they went out and got Niles Davis, and not many people wanted him as a running back because he was so big, even though he's got great speed, especially some of that's developed in college, but is a perfect fit for Arkansas. So, everybody goes out there. The thing about Jarvis is his versatility. He can stand up and play linebacker. He can put his hand down on the ground, play on the defensive line. He's got good hands and good blocking ability as far as running ability at fullback. So I think that's going to be a plus for him when it comes to recruiting time. He's not just fit in one pigeonhole. We need this position. He's not at that position. We've got to go on. He's an athlete. He can fit in a couple different spots.
I sense that many colleges see him as a linebacker on defense, but could he possibly be a stand-up defensive end as a pass rusher? rusher?
Oh, he can put his hand down and be defensive.
Really?
I really think so, yes. You know, he's not quite got the length that people want, but he's got the quickness coming off the edge, 240 pounds with his speed. Yes, I think he could play there also.
Big guys like that are hard to find, aren't they? It's probably like left-handed pitching in baseball, right?
Maybe even rarer than that.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, you had 29 yards rushing at halftime. How concerned were you at that?
We were having trouble. It was I have to take some of the blame with the play calling. It's also some of the execution. I mean, it was really frustrating because we go out there, we throw a 30, 35-yard pass, one play, and we're in the end zone. We thought, okay, here we go. We're track meet's on. We're ready to go.
Right.
And we don't do anything else till the third quarter. It was discouraging.
You're right. I mean, the 2 plays took West Memphis 2 plays to score that first touchdown, and the touchdown run, there was a ton of open room for him. I'm not sure that he was touched.
Kendall made a good cut right in the end zone. No one put a hand on him. And I thought, all right, here we go. Track meet's ready.
I'm sure that most fans saw that and went, yeah, this is going to be this is going to be 50-49 at the end, and it almost was. I mean, it turned out to be 30-21, which we'll get to talk about more about the score later. But PA threw almost 50 passes, Coach, and not, in my estimation, I might be wrong, but not a single one with a lot of yards after catch.
No, we tackled the ball real well once it was thrown up, and we had some hard tackles on it too. The only long pass we gave up was the 4th down play when we had the interception, didn't hang on to it, tipped over our shoulder pad. The receiver caught it and ran it on in the end zone. Other than that, everything was anywhere from screen passes behind the line to about 10 yards, maybe 12 or 15. Everything else was short yardage, had people breaking up on the ball, making good tackles.
Their receiver, top receiver, L.J. Wallace, boy, he looked like a really good one. He's a college ball player.
He was able to find those openings in the zone, sit down in them, and of course their quarterback knew where he was going, was able to stick the ball in there, and he had a lot of completions. You know,
we talked about this last week where you had mentioned that PA likes to come to the game late. And so I took that into consideration. I come to the ball game and it's like 6 o'clock and there's, PA's not there, and I think, well, that's probably par for the course, but they started rolling in at 6:26, and I was like, if they're not dressed, it's going to take them 30 minutes to get dressed. And so, I mean, were even you surprised when they showed up at almost 6:30?
Well, that's what everybody told me. They usually showed up 30 minutes before the game. I figured they'd be here earlier because of the long trip, just because of the traffic, but
they got caught in traffic.
A couple of the players, a couple of the coaches, I said, don't worry about it. They will be here by 7 and they'll be ready to play when they get here.
How do you feel holding PA? I think it was their lowest point total in 4 years? How do you feel about that?
Well, I thought the defense played tremendous. There's no doubt about it. And we talked all week about don't get frustrated on completed passes, just make tackles. The only line that really matters is the goal line. And I think our defense did that. We bend a lot. They had a lot of first downs, moved the ball. But when we really needed to bow up and keep them out of the end zone, for the most part, we did.
Do you think your defense's identity was pretty much revealed after that game?
Well, part of it, but I don't know that we'll ever play another team like that. We'll play passing teams, but someone that's just going to, empty set, maybe a one-back set, and they're determined they're going to throw the football, they're going to throw the football, they're going to throw the football. So I think most of the teams we play the rest of our schedule will be more balanced than that as far as run and throw.
I don't think they'll encounter another team with the type of defense that you have, just a bunch of greyhounds, big guys, kind of the big guys. I mean, not if it were a basketball team, it would be a team full of 6'6" swing players rather than a couple of 7-footers or 6'9", and not a whole lot of the 5'11", 6-footers. But you have mid-sized players that can just move.
Well, we were hoping we'd have a good matchup because you're right, we're not a big team. We're really small on defense, but we can run. And obviously, we reacted real well. I mean, there was a couple times I look up, we got 3 people going at the quarterback, and I knew the screen. Here comes the screen. We'd have at least one that would read it, make the tackle. Sometimes 2, but they never hurt us on the screens. We always had someone that somehow read what was going on, stayed back, and it was a 0 gainer, which, they've been making big plays off that. And it's very hard, Billy, I think extremely hard to rush the quarterback like we did and still be able to put the brakes on and recognize screen and run plays as well as our defensive linemen did.
Now, I think the book is out on your defense as far as the pass rush, and I'm sure that the passing teams on your schedule are going to look at this. I don't know if they're going to look at this tape, but they're going to get a scouting report from this game, and I'm sure they're going to go, oh, we may be in for a very, very long night.
I hope you're right.
No, I'm serious. I mean, you guys have some great pass rushers, and it's not just Jarvis. And you mentioned Cornelius; he's one. Martavius Scott is another one. He was in there.
They all did a very good job in our young defense. Stanley Gaines did a good job. So we had several that was going. So, but you know, in the future, it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to be more balanced. Even the shotgun teams are going to run the ball a lot more than PA did.
Now, let's talk about Jonesboro. They come into this ball game only 2-0, and you wonder why has everybody else played 3 games and Jonesboro's only played 2. The second week they were going to play at Conway, I believe, and that game was just, I never even got started, did it?
Well, they did get started. I think Jonesboro snapped the ball 7 times, scored a touchdown. Conway snapped the ball 3 times. And then the lightning struck, and they went all to the dressing rooms, waited an hour, hour and a half, and they sent everybody home. That was a bad night.
That's a long trip not to play ball. That's a long trip not to play ball. But they are 2-0. They come off a 31-17 victory over Batesville. And what do you see from that particular game?
Well, you know, they've got a lot of tools. Stafford, their running back, is a 3-year starter. He's an outstanding running back. I don't know that he's the best one we'll play all year, but he's one of the best ones. But their quarterback is definitely the best running quarterback we'll see all year. He's the Delta Clary type. He can really do things with his legs, and he's a good passer too. This year, Billy, they're running out of the shotgun like they always do, but they're 75% run the first 2 ball games. So it's a running offense as opposed to PA's being a passing offense out of the shotgun. So we're going to have to be a lot more balanced. We're going to have to defend the run very well. And having a running quarterback, it's just another dimension. I don't care if you're in the NFL all the way down to junior high. If you got a kid that can throw the ball and run the ball after fakes, it makes your defense, really stretches your defense out.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to digress. We have videotape, the magic. We're going to go through the magic of videotape, and we're going to watch highlights from last week's game against Pulaski Academy, and I think we've got about like 4 minutes of it. So early in the game there.
That was the first play of the game. In fact, that was the first offensive play. We run a little fade route to DeAnthony Davis, made a good throw, good catch, and set us up.
Now, is this the defensive stand here early?
This is the early defensive stand. They move the ball down the field. They get down close. They decide they're going to run the ball. Our run defense was outstanding. This is a 4th down try. In fact, from about the 3-yard line, no gain, and we take over right there on offense.
That was a big key too.
Oh, big key. Anytime you stop them out. Okay, here another defensive stance here. We come around, get a sack, cause a fumble. Tackling the quarterback up high on his throwing arm. We pull the ball out, and this is the first turnover that we got from him.
Was that the play that knocked out Lawson Vassar?
No, that was not the play.
Okay.
And again, they've moved the ball down the field. They're getting down close to the red zone. And we are just smothering the quarterback, not giving him much time at all. Big play here down on their own end zone. They tried to run the ball, no gain. Our run defense was better than I actually thought it'd be with just 5 people in the box.
Minus yardage is what I had for the night. Is that pretty accurate?
Very much so. Okay, here we go. We've been running the ball well, so we come out on 1st down, run a little play action. DeAnthony gets behind the corner. Safeties are up in the box, and get a good gain down to about the 10-yard line, and we go ahead and punch it in from there.
DeAnthony had a great game, too.
Did. Outstanding pass blocking. Cody Frazier did a great job of throwing the ball in there, and DeAnthony did a great job of catching the ball. I was proud of Cody here. This is his first audible of the year. Came up, didn't like the defense, changed the formation, got us in a different play, and as it worked out, is the perfect call.
Hello, yes, touchdown.
So good audible on his part.
Cody Frazier kind of came of age in that game, did he not?
I thought he did a very good job. Now, this is a lot harder than it looks. I mean, you're looking at the defense, you're concerned about the play, and all of a sudden you say, I don't like their alignment, let's try something else. And Of course, NFL, you see it all the time, but it's pretty hard for a high school guy
Right.
to execute his offense and be able to make audibles like that. Here we go on defense again. Great job on the last drive. That's Parker Grigsby.
That's what I thought. Yeah, Parker Grigsby.
The Wallace kid's running an out route. He recognized the route, gets out there, and is able to tip it out of bounds.
Parker was a busy man on defense all night long, too.
Parker did a very good job on defense. Never came off the field. Great recognition on his part, getting underneath the route to knock it away.
Is this the final touchdown
This
here?
is the final touchdown. This is a 4th down play. Didn't block it very well, but he got the ball off on a good route, and we got in between the safety and the corner. Just like the route's supposed to be ran. It doesn't always end up that way. But Cody does a great job of throwing a good ball here, and he's got people in his face. But makes a great catch, and that's a big touchdown there. That puts us 2 scores up. Able to take a breath a little bit there. And then, of course, we get the interception here. We got our little zone blitz. Our defensive end dropped back out into coverage, and they threw the ball to him. And had a good run back. They called a clip on this play. Also said he went out of bounds. I don't know. They were I think the officials are frustrated because we're not close to being out of bounds. But we've got the ball. We've got the ball back in good position.
That wasn't close.
No. And here's Jarvis tackling both guys. Don't know which one is he handing off or keeping
Jarvis
it. So,
just wanted to smother somebody. He just wanted to kill somebody.
It's a little zone read play where the quarterback rides the back, decides to give it to him or hold on to it. So Jarvis gets back there early and got one in one hand, one in the other. That takes care of that.
What a great game he had.
Very good.
All right, Coach, let's continue talking about Jonesboro. Are they a hard read for you this year? I mean, they lost Zach Brooks that signed with Clemson, the running back, and they lost, which I think was a key for them, Mo Malugian. Are they a harder read for you this year than they were last year?
No, really. Last year, Mo had gotten hurt, I think, a week or 2 before we played, so the quarterback came in and didn't know a whole lot about the sophomore. Well, now he's a 2-year starter,
right?
And we know about him, and he's a Cody Burns type guy. He can throw the ball very accurately, but man, he's got some wheels. So like I said, it's really going to stretch our defense. But it's not a 3 or 4-man show. It's pretty much him and Stafford are the 2 guys.
Right, and he was the kid that scored the winning touchdown against us last year. Am I correct on that?
That's exactly right. Second play of overtime, they ran a little keeper play with him, and he went in the end zone basically untouched on that play.
All right, with all the talented backs Jonesboro had last year, but losing Malugian, I think, actually was a blessing in disguise, don't you think? Because this guy brought an element to it that and I think his name is DJ, or is it, what is his name? DJ Davis or DJ Anderson, lent another element to their offense.
Well, it changed up. Randy Coleman, their head coach, had to change up because with Mo, he could read defenses, he could hit the windows, he's a very good passer, and a multiple passing attack. Well, they bring in a sophomore. He can't do that. It's pretty much you're going to throw it to him, no matter what. But with his wheels, with his ability to run the ball, it did add another dimension.
Who do you think's better, Martin Stafford, their current running back, or Zach Brooks?
I think Martin Stafford is. I really do. I remember when Brooks was a junior and we were playing him up there. Martin was a sophomore. Brooks got hurt and left the game. And they brought Stafford in, and we thought, that may not be good. Brooks had blazing speed, tremendous speed, but he didn't always have running back skills. Well, Stafford has running back skills. He's fast, not as fast as Brooks, but he can cut on a dime, he can cut back, he can do those things you want running backs to do even without the big-time track speed that Brooks had.
He gained 1,800 yards last year, which was a school record, so that tells you how good he was. They had 2 1,000-yard rushers in that backfield last year. Coach, how big a factor is returning the favor to Jonesboro? They broke your conference winning streak last year.
Well, it's not a revenge type thing, but it is a conference ball game. It's the first conference ball game. And Billy, really when it comes down to it, there's 3 ball games that you really need to win if you're going to be successful. Number one, you need to win the first conference ball game. If you lose it, you're behind the 8 ball the rest of the time. Number 2 is your homecoming game. You'll always have a lot of people there. It's a big deal. If you lose your homecoming game, it's hard to recoup at any level.
Remember that one.
You remember that one. And then the third one is the first playoff game.
Right.
Those 3 are really must-win games if a program is going to be successful. And, of course, this is the first one of those 3.
Okay, Coach. I got 3 questions for you Billy wants to know. First one, my boy John Calipari. I read in the paper in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette on Sunday that the University of Kentucky has built a brand new $7 million basketball dorm, basketball only. And we're going to get into this, but it has a personal chef, all right? It has single rooms for every player, flat screens in every room. It has a pool table in every room. It is state-of-the-art, obviously. Your take on that? Is this over the top?
For Kentucky basketball, about average.
About average. Well, let me ask you this.
No.
I mean, does this make some of these one-and-done guys maybe say, you know what, I might be able to make more money, but I might have it pretty good here?
Well, I don't know. You know, I wonder how that works because, you know, the NCAA several years ago eliminated athletic dorms.
They did.
They said you cannot have a dorm just for athletes.
Right.
You've got to have your regular student population. So I don't know really how that's going to
They
go
must
there.
have gotten around the rules somehow.
Must have somehow, but Kentucky basketball, nothing surprises me. And I'm sure not a penny of it came from state,
From donors.
from state money. It was all donors,
Yeah.
and they probably could have built 2 of them if they wanted to.
All right, second, Coach, we all are aware of the academic fraud scandal going on in Memphis high school football, concerning Memphis high school football. Your take on that?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I mean, anytime you cheat at any level at anything, you know, it's going to come back to haunt you. It's not good. It's not good for the student that knows that's going on, where they're thinking, hey, there's always a way around things. Plus, you know, cheating is cheating. And when you go in there and you look at the transcript and you just blatantly change grades to make someone eligible for college, I mean, you know, the big goal is I'm getting them in college, I'm helping them, but, you know, there's other ways around it other than just blatant, you know, changing grades on transcripts.
Finally, quick, Steven Strasburg, Washington Nationals pitcher, shut down for the season after Tommy John surgery. Good or bad?
Boy, that's tough. I mean, you know, it's good for him in the long run, but hey, this is their chance to win a World Series ring, and their best guy's not going to be throwing the ball. Ooh, that's
no
a tough
guarantee
call.
They'll be in this position ever again.
That's a tough call.
All right. Well, Coach, I personally think that they probably should let him go ahead. I mean, they're this close. You never know what's going to happen. Coach, that's all the time we got, and we want to wish you luck Friday night at Jonesboro. And first conference game.
Jonesboro's always a tough place to play
and it's always close at Jonesboro.
But we've had good turnouts in the past. We really hope we can fill up that whole side over there.
No doubt. And we'll see you next week on the Coach Lanny Dauksch Show. Welcome to the Blue Devil Roundup. I'm Billy Woods along with the head coach of the West Memphis Blue Devils, Lanny Dauksch. And tonight in Jonesboro, the Blue Devils take on the Jonesboro Hurricane in the very first conference game of the season. Jonesboro comes into this ball game 2-0 on the season, with one of their games canceled because of stormy weather. And the Blue Devils come into this ball game 3-0 after last week's 30-21 thrilling come-from-behind victory against Pulaski Academy. And, Coach, that gave your ball club, I would imagine, a lift going into conference play.
It really did. You know, it's unusual. Usually come-from-behind victory, you think of great offensive plays. Hey, our defense set us up. When we got that safety there and we got 2 points and now we're, you know, less than a touchdown away, boy, I think it just lifted our whole side. And then, of course, we get the ball back, you know, from the safety kick. We drive it in there. We get the score. Boy, it's a big momentum shift there.
You had all kinds of issues to deal with as far as Pulaski Academy goes, with the unconventional style they play, the onside kicks and the 4 downs, and they never returned punts. You fielded every one of those onside kicks. I mean, I thought that was crucial. How close did your team come to checking off everything that you wanted them to do?
Well, you know, we didn't move the ball offensively nearly as well as we wanted to. We wish we could have held them more on those 4th down plays, especially the 4th and longs. But overall, Billy, I think we did a good job. Besides all the unconventional things they do, they got some quarterbacks that can throw the ball. They got some receivers that can get open and catch the ball, and that was the biggest part of it, you know, is being able to stay with those receivers because when they got open, they had some quarterbacks that could throw it in there.
No doubt about it.